In this video for CITC 2337, we'll be covering group policy processing. Now we'll be configuring the processing order and precedence of the GPOs, configuring blocking of inheritance and enforcing the policies. We'll be configuring security and WMI filtering, and we'll be configuring loopback processing. Now let's go ahead and configure our local group policy. The first thing we'll be doing is opening up our edit group policy, and I already have it pinned to the taskbar. So you'll be opening up, not that, guess I don't have it pinned. Okay, just type in edit group policy. And it should have popped up. Oh, maybe it's right there. No, there it is. Okay, so once you have your local group policy editor up, you want to go and configure one of the policies. You can. So let's go over to our user configuration. For anyone that logs on to this computer, it will configure a policy, and let's see what policy we want that to be. Administrative templates. Let's do desktop wallpaper, and let's just enable that. And let's do the wallpaper name. Let's see, we have that right over there. Just happens to be ready for us. Let's copy a link. Don't want that, no. So copy that over, paste in that, stretch, apply, and OK. And that is pretty much how you configure a local group policy. You would then, of course, restart your computer, and also make sure you do a GP update. Now we'll be configuring the domain group policy. This one is sort of like the last one we did for site. We'll be going to our group policy management, and to domains, a class 2050, and our domain policies will be right here that are effective for our entire domain. And you just right click edit, simple as that. Then your policies, and you configure your policy however you wish. But in this situation, we'll just be using the desktop wallpaper, and ta-da, it is configured. And for everyone in our entire domain, their wallpaper will be applied to what I set it to. Now we'll be configuring the domain group policy. This one is sort of like the last one we did for site. We'll be going to our group policy management, and to domains, a class 2050, and our domain policies will be right here that are effective for our entire domain. And you just right click edit, simple as that. Then your policies, and you configure your policy however you wish. But in this situation, we'll just be using the desktop wallpaper, and ta-da, it is configured. And for everyone in our entire domain, their wallpaper will be applied to what I set it to. Now we're going to be configuring blocking of inheritance and enforce policies. So for these two, we're going to start out with going to group policy management, and for blocking of inheritance, what it essentially does, it allows you to block all inheritance that are applied from places above it. Pretty much that. And for the OU, which would be blocking inheritance, that's pretty much everything. If we block inheritance for an OU, we're blocking everything from above it. Essentially, it goes from site to domain, and then OU. So let's go ahead and do block inheritance. And after that, we would have to do a GP update. And once that goes through, we should now be plugging inheritance. So let's unblock it and let's go over to enforcing group policies. So minimize, and for enforcement group policies, it's really straightforward. We just want to click on, let's see, default domain policy, right click, enforce. You see link is enforced, yes. Let's see. I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but that's really about it for enforcement. Enforcement will force the settings to be applied to everybody, and since we did that for the entire domain, everybody in the domain, even the admins, all down the domain tree, will not have the ability to override any settings. So if you enforce it, you might want to have 2 group policies thereafter, as one would be mandatorily forced. That's a bad word to choose, but one would be forced upon you, and the second one you will probably want to be able to allow people to override some settings. Now we'll be configuring security filtering and WMI filtering. So for security, we'll simply be going over to an OU and right clicking, create a GPO. Let's create one real quick. And for this GPO, just double click it, and for scope, the security filtering is right here. And as you see, the settings in this GPO can be applied to the following groups, and authenticated users is the default. So let's get rid of that. Let's do security filtering for really doesn't matter. Let's do bsmith. And that's really about it for that. And WNI filtering, let's move on to that one. It's right below security filtering. And for WMI filtering, you would need to have a filter created first. So since we need to go do that, let's go into our WMI filters, right click, new, and name it, and new WMI filter. That's a perfect name. Let's add the filter, so to speak, which is in SQL or MySQL or SQL, whatever name you fancy. So let's do select all from Windows 32 operating system blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Well, no, let's yeah, okay. Save it. Syntax error. Okay, I guess it kind of did matter. How about now? Yes, it works. It's good enough for me. And let's go over to the group policy that you want to apply the WMI filtering to and select it. And would you like to change WMI filter to the new WMI filter that you made? Yes. Boom. And that's how you apply a WMI filter. Essentially, anything you want to use filtered out through the SQL database. Now we'll be configuring loopback processing. And essentially, loopback processing allows administrators to apply group policies based on the computer rather than the user. Pretty much that straightforward. Name's kind of weird, but that's Windows for you. All weird. Anyways, let's do right click, edit, and pretty sure we under policies, admin, system, policy. Right there it is. Expand. Click on that. And in this core maze, you will find loopback processing. I hope. I'm looking in the wrong spot, or I'm doing something. Let's filter this bad boy. Go to the bottom. Where are you? Okay, so it was right here. Configure user group policy loopback processing, and simply just edit and enable, of course. The mode you want to set that to replace, and pretty much apply your changes. And that's how you do loopback processing. It's really that straightforward. You know, it'll replace any kind of policies applied from an admin. That would be for the computer. And this is great for training computers, remote computers, essentially any kind of computer you want it to be like isolated from the rest of the domain, network, or site, whatever you were applying it from originally. Alright, in review, we configure the processing order and precedence of the GPOs. We configure blocking with inheritance and enforce policies. We configure security and WMI filtering, and we configure the loopback processing.